Hey guys, Photography Lounge back to you with another video. Today I'd like to talk about the absolute mess that Star Wars is in thanks to Kathleen Kennedy and Bob Iger. Actually, sorry, that's a video for another time. I actually want to talk about the absolute state of the Fujifilm nipple. Why do we still have the Fujifilm nipple in 2020? Check out this Canon 5D. See that nipple there? Or that joystick or thumbstick or whatever it is? It's got like 3 times or 4 times the amount of purchase for your thumb to actually grip or lock into it before you're moving things around. Now, it's not the best shaped joystick out there. I think Sony's are much better. The Leica SLs is better again if you're working in a whole bunch of different types of weather. The Panasonic's is excellent as well. The Fujifilm's is too small. You can't just put your thumb on the top and then move it to the left or the right. There's not enough purchase. So what ends up happening is that you need to put your thumb to one edge or the other. So if you want to go to the right, you got to put it on the left edge and then you got to pull it. If you want to go to the left, you got to put your thumb on the right edge and then push it. If you want to go down, you put your thumb on the top and pull down. And conversely, if you want to go up, you put it on the bottom of the thing and you pull up. It's too small. Now the X-T4 has plenty of space to have a full size joystick rather than a baby nipple. For some reason, the GFX, a much larger camera, which has a much larger D-pad, which is easier to use for fingers of all size, still has the same tiny Fujifilm nipple. With the X-T3, well, it's in a bad spot, where you have to like move your thumb up to the corner and then fight against the thumb grip to somehow get in there. And the button itself is too flat, it's too flush, and it doesn't give any feedback because it's tiny. It's about 1 millimeter sticking out of the body. And instead of going in softly, it's a quick click on or off. Most other manufacturers don't do this. Now, Sony might do that. They're mirrorless. Panasonic, Leica, all these other companies have a specific amount of travel that that button has, or the button is in a completely different niche and it feels different. Canon, my DSLR, the 5D Mark II, has a well-traveled small button, but it's well-traveled in a good spot, jammed up right against, in a natural angle, the thumb stop. Whereas a Fujifilm, your thumb wants to go like this, but the button wants to go like that. Now, of course, with the Fujifilm body, you can change it to go to the AEL, which is in a slightly more natural spot. That is because you don't have to wedge your thumb up against something that's pressing against it. The problem is then you have to travel across the Q button and then up. For some reason, the AFN button is on a plane that is then reduced within the body instead of sticking out. So not only is it a tiny button with no real travel, it's just an off-on click button, it's in a reduced side. So your thumb actually has to then travel against the body, going the opposite way. Finding a tiny button like that, even if you don't have gloves on, is really tough. If you have gloves on and you can feel that, you're not human. The last thing I kind of want to talk about, something that's annoyed me a little bit, not with the XH1 because the grip was then integrated and it was flat and it was much more or better supported, I suppose. And it's not something I really bothered about so much until I got the mica grip that you see in this video. The mica grip is a piece of aluminium. It was cheap. It was like 50 bucks. And I have it on my X-T3, of course, because that thing is so tiny, it's very hard to use a camera without it. Now, I also have the battery extension grip for the X-T3, and it definitely extends the battery life of that camera. Unfortunately, that new grip, as well as the X-T3 grip, has the same weakness. It is also plastic and movable. So if you're doing a lot of vertical to landscape to vertical to landscape to vertical landscape, the thing is going to like not necessarily vibrate, but it's going to move on its post. Well, it should be as solid as possible. It'd be much better if it was in metal. And I think Fujifilm could probably do that. The grip would be more expensive, but the current grip for the X-T4 is like 400 bucks, where the previous one was like 250 or 300. So it's more expensive, but it appears to be the same thing. When it's a bit of plastic, stiff, of course, but it's not going to give you the rigidity of the body that you need if you're doing a lot of action. If you were able to address these 2 or 3 issues, you would have a camera that should satisfy all the detractors as well as keep the fanboys super duper happy. But in order to do that, you have to start listening to people who are not just fanboys. I indicated that in the last video. It's obvious that you've made some changes, some important changes that will help your cameras going forward. I really like, in general, what you've done with X-T4, but I think you're still missing a couple of well, rather important things. The baby nipple is one. The AF on button and that whole recess panel is definitely another. The vertical grip that you supply with it so you can use it more comfortably as an action photographer camera or on the runway or whatever else, so you just want extended battery, is not stable enough to make that camera stable in the hand for serious action or other photography. And it could be. You could do it. I've got faith in you. Just as long as you stop listening to all the people that are always like, Fujifilm are perfect. If you say something else, you're a Sony fanboy. Get out of here, Sony fanboy. And you're like, don't own a Sony. Fujifilm, you can do it. Just stop listening to the fanboys. That's it. See you guys later. Buy a hat, $20. Ship it out to you. Serial number. This is the current design. You'd make a request if you want. It's freaking awesome. Or hit up my Patreon page. See you guys later. Thank you.